Hello, tile friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Tile Money Podcast. My name is Luke Miller, your host, a licensed tile contractor here in the state of California, and I love discussing the business of tile. This episode of Tile Money is brought to you by the National Tile Contractors Association and is sponsored by Laticrete International. Today, I have another interview for you. I was able to interview Isaac Ostrom, and I'm so glad I did. Isaac is doing a lot of great things in his company. He has about 6 people working for him. He has a retail store where he sells tile, uh, based out of Sacramento, near Sacramento, California, I should say. And he also has a strong YouTube following. You might have heard of him, Tile Coach, on YouTube or Instagram. So he's passionate about the tile industry. He's passionate about everything he does. He takes it very serious. And I know I benefited from interviewing him, and I believe you will benefit greatly from listening to this episode as well. So at the end of this episode, we're diving right into another edition of the Tile Money Tips with Ron Nash. And Ron and I have been discussing negotiation tactics. And recently, we've been discussing counter tactics to what Ron calls the dark arts, defense against the dark arts. So, what this is, friends, when we have a customer or a potential customer, I should say, they're looking to negotiate the best deal for themselves. And Ron is helping us understand some of these tactics that are ages old and understand them a little bit better so that we can defend ourselves and know what to say as a counter tactic so that we can get the best deal for ourselves as business owners. So these are very powerful tips. They're in about 5 to 10 minutes. This one's a little shorter, about 5, 6 minutes. So I know you're going to benefit from listening to this, friends. And I want to encourage you, friends, if you know another tile contractor, maybe even in your same town, it's going to benefit you if you share this podcast with them. The reason is, as their business grows and their prices get raised, you won't be so far apart anymore. Have you ever been told you're double what the other tile contractors are? Well, a rising tide raises all ships, friends. So please share this podcast with another tile contractor. Maybe online, you know somebody. And I want to give you a tip to subscribe to this show, this podcast. If you're listening on iTunes and it's sporadic, you're having trouble, you got to hit that subscribe button and they will notify you. Make sure your notifications are turned on and they will notify you when I release new episodes. I am releasing 2 a week on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, uh, a bunch of other podcast apps. No matter if you have a iPhone or a Android, you can listen to this podcast right on your phone. You can download it, listen to it at work or on your way to work. So, friends, I hope this podcast is encouraging you and making you think of your business in new ways and improving your business. Please reach out to me and let me know. Until then, friends, enjoy your day. Isaac, thanks for joining me. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Luke. Good to hook up with you, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I know it's busy and looks like you're in your showroom there. So we want to dive into your business a little bit and your showroom and your YouTube account and all that good stuff. You're doing a lot of good work. But before we get into your business, I always like to get to know my guest a little bit personally. What kind of stuff do you get up to on your weekends or your free time?
Right now it seems to be golf is what's catching my attention.
Okay.
I had my stone fabricator that I've used for years, Mike Medina with Natural Stone Design here in Sacramento. I've been working with him for about 15 years, and he's been bugging me forever to go golf with him. And finally, about 3 years ago, he gave me a set of clubs, and so it's kind of been on ever since then. My personality, when I get into something, I kind of do it full fledged. So, I enjoy fishing. We're up here in Northern California. We got, the Sierra Nevadas, Lake Tahoe. We got the coast, Bodega Bay, Fort Bragg, San Francisco. I mean, there's just water everywhere around here, rivers, lakes, ocean.
Yeah.
So love fishing, grew up fishing, fly fishing in the mountains. And I
Nice.
do that. But yeah, I like doing things that I like doing things that I can, I guess, quantitative things like golf. You can keep track of your score.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fishing, you measure how big your fish is. And this sounds stupid and childlike, but I've discovered that's how my personality is, and that's how I'm driven. And I like to count dollars. I like to do stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what I've been into lately, though. So
Yeah, that's interesting that you say, acknowledging your personality. I think you recently put a picture on your Instagram of your grandfather, or was it your great grandfather?
great grandfather, yes, yeah.
Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about that? I found that really interesting.
Yeah, so I went on ancestry.com, and I've heard stories about my great grandfather, but he died at a, not a real young age, but at 66 he passed away, and so that was in the 1940s. So my grandfather kind of grew. So he passed away when my grandfather was like in a early teens, like 12, 13 years old. So we didn't hear too much about him. A few stories, and then just as I got older, he shared my name. So his name was Isaac Ostrom as well.
Okay.
So it kind of piqued my interest. I got into ancestry.com, just started digging around. And I saw all these old photos of him. And then a lot of newspaper articles, things that people had written about him, where he'd been, his travels, the travel records, stuff like that. And yeah, I found out that he came to the country at the turn of the century, 20 years old, from Sweden, and he came here to just find a better life, which is really cool.
Okay.
He was actually pretty set up in Sweden. He was going to inherit the family farm. That's kind of how things worked there. But he wanted more than that, so he hopped on a boat, came to America, started working in logging industry. Then he got into the hard rock gold mines, the Sierra
Okay.
Nevada. So our area, Sacramento area, if you go up into the foothills towards Lake Tahoe, the mountains, it's littered with gold mines, and that was a huge industry. Not only like the gold rush from, everybody knows about the gold rush in
Yeah.
California,
Yeah.
where they were mining the rivers, but they got into hard rock mining, where they're actually digging tunnels
Yeah.
into the rocks, following quartz veins for gold. And
Okay.
so he got into that and actually was pretty successful with it. Had a mining company, and
Hmm.
never got rich, but I could, the picture that I actually found and I shared on Instagram was of him in a tug of war contest,
Oh yeah.
with, in some, I don't know how this is 1920, so they're doing all kinds of funny things, but I could really relate to it. It just reminded me of something that I would do, some stupid game, but I'm going to win
Yeah.
at it,
Yeah.
and I kind of just felt the connection to that. And, him being a miner, I mean, it really also made our work look, I like to think of our work as hard work.
Yeah.
you know, we're at least cutting and grinding rock above ground. I mean, these guys are doing the same thing, drilling, loading ore,
Wow.
blasting, and they're underground. I mean,
Yeah.
and so really a tough life. He was really a tough guy, and I really value that. I mean, I think that's what's cool about our industry. It's filled with a bunch of tough guys, and I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I really, really hope we don't lose that, because it kind of sets us apart from everybody else.
Yeah.
And in a day and age where society kind of wants us to push us into everybody being the same, it feels like, to me, maybe I'm taking it wrong, but it feels like, even men in the masculinity, everybody wants us to kind of, either tone that down. Everybody should be kind of the same, just be kind of kinder, gentler people.
Yeah.
And in a way, there's some truth to that. But what makes, men and Americans Americans is this ideal that we'll go out there and bust ass, and we'll work hard, and we'll get it done if it needs to get done. And
Yeah.
we're just, there's a grit to it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of really related to that. And that picture I found on Ancestry, really did it for me. I felt it. I felt like, oh man, there's that connection of, being a real man,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't as valued as it used to be.
Well,
Now,
yeah.
you know, Tell me what you
Yeah.
think about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with you there, Isaac, and I appreciate you sharing that history and that photo, and really the thought that I'm understanding, if I'm hearing you correct, is embrace who you are. You know, if
Yeah.
you're a man, if you're into working with your hands, if you're competitive, embrace all these things and use it to your advantage, and understand that there's no need to be ashamed of it. I mean, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just, you like to be competitive, and you like, the business side of things, or you like to win, you like to count things, you like to count that
Yeah.
score.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
really cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's been awesome because my wife and I have been doing some marriage counseling. We've been married 20 years through four
Okay.
kids, and so
Yeah.
I think it's
Congratulations.
very important to anybody who's married. I mean, taking care of yourself and your family has to come first before your business. It's just for me, anyways, or else
Yeah.
everything else doesn't really matter. But so in that, we've taken some personality tests
Okay.
and found out those exact things you were kind of pointing out about myself. And then she got to see them and like see them on paper and be like, oh, there are personality types. Isaac's just a personality type. And
Mm,
it's not something I need to change. There's stuff we can work on definitely.
of
But
course.
now she understands me a lot more. And I
Yeah.
understood myself and kind of became more okay with it. Like you're saying, like this is how I'm wired. This is the stuff I like. I don't need to be ashamed of it or try to fix it. It's like I always feel like I was trying to fix these character defects or flaws that I have, like and again, like I said, there's things that I can get better at, but
Sure.
who I am at the core, who I
Yeah.
was born, you know that's who I am, and
Mhm.
embrace those things, and we're all made different for a reason. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Variety is the spice of life. Well, and my wife's been asking me to take a personality test too recently, so this might be the
yeah,
the
it's really cool. It's really cool. I
yeah,
would encourage it.
very
So
cool. So, what does your business look like today, Isaac? I see you got a showroom there, a retail
yeah,
store. Yeah.
yeah. So we opened our showroom in 2014.
Okay.
Um, I started doing tile work in 1998 and was a helper for old school union guy, Italian, Sicilian. Don't want to say Italian because he's Sicilian.
Okay.
In the Bay Area, he worked in the Bay Area for one of the biggest union shops, and then he came up into the foothills. And I grew up in Grass Valley, which is a smaller town up in the
Yeah.
foothills, and I started working with him in 1998, and I was under him for about 2 years, and then I ended up moving down here to the Central Valley, Sacramento area, for just to get my own work going and figure some other things out. There's some personal things that I might get into later, but for whatever reason, we ended up in Sacramento, Marissa and
Yeah.
I, and our two small children at the time.
Yeah.
And then so I just worked out of my garage, like most people who are listening to this podcast. I was right where you guys are at. Working out of my garage, had a truck, had tools, went from job to job. Got leads from other general contractors, tile shops, whatever, however that happens.
Yeah.
And I just operated that way. Every once in a while, I'd take on a few more employees as jobs got bigger. The boom, the '04 to '06, I grew to 4 or 5 guys working with me. Then the economy hit, actually went down to just myself again,
Yeah.
working out of my truck.
Yep.
And then in 2012, kind of had you know, I guess I'd call it a spiritual awakening, and found out that I wanted to have a showroom. Like I was like,
Okay.
there's more to this. It was kind of at the tail end of the housing flip era. We're working for dirt cheap for a lot of investors, and it was just crappy work. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to get out of installations. I'm sick of installations. My body's beat up. I got to figure out something else. And so we opened the showroom in, I said 2014. 2013 is when we started construction on it.
Okay.
And then so 2014, we were kind of full bore. I wanted to just sell tile. But in order to do that, I kind of had to keep my installs going.
Okay.
And so as time went on, I sold tile, but I was still selling a lot more money in installs.
Okay.
And then like, I'd say probably around 2014, 2015, I made the call that I'm never going to get rid of installs because the money's too good now. And the jobs were good again. and I learned that I really valued working for other people. I mean, that's kind of what made me tick was building and creating stuff for other people that they enjoyed.
Yeah.
And so I would say now where we're at, probably 80% of our revenue is from installation.
Oh, really?
20% is only from material sales.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they go hand in hand, but the nice thing about having a showroom is we keep it all in house. So
Yeah.
if our customers come to us, they look around our showroom, we can find a tile. I'm not sending them out to Bedrosians in Arizona and Dow and Cortopassi and all the other shops where they're getting
Yeah.
overwhelmed and confused and worn out along the way. And then
Yeah.
also I control the price of my materials. I mean,
Okay.
that's a huge thing. Is that was a bit of advice given to me from another really successful contractor, and he never had a showroom, but he still sold his materials, and he would break specs on stuff. Get a 4x4 white Dell tile to do a shopping mall with or whatever,
Yeah.
and he would source it in Mexico or source it somewhere else and get it for half the price and sell it to the customer for the same price. He's like, dude, the name of the game, you can make a
Yeah.
lot of money on materials. So
Yeah.
I always tell contractors that too, and I think you've shared in some of your stuff. Like, you should be marking up your materials. You're taking responsibility for it. So
Yeah.
if it's passing through your hands and someone's writing you a check for it, you better be getting your cut of it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And what it does too, it probably does allow you to be a little more competitive on the installation side of
Oh
things.
yeah,
Is that?
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
That way, we need to find profit in a variety of areas, friends.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
so
One.
how large is the
Yeah.
install side? Six guys, did you say?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
there's six of us, and yeah, we're always been, I mean, for the last 3 years, it's been pretty crazy. We haven't slowed down. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like we have like I have two of my guys going on vacation next month, and I'm just like, how are we going to work this out? I mean, there's just, it never seems to be a downtime. Every time I think we have like a slowing of the schedule, I'm like, okay, we can finally breathe. It's
Yeah.
just, which is good. I mean, it's a good problem to have because I've been doing this a while and it's not always going to be like this. So
Right.
I
Right.
just enjoy it while it's here.
What are
So,
your main roles every day?
oh, for me, it's funny. Marissa just asked me last night. She said, how does it feel? Can you believe that you're like a boss, that you're a boss to six guys, and like they depend on you and for their livelihood. I mean, these,
Yeah.
and I thought about it and I go, you know what? I don't feel like their boss. I mean, I just feel like one of the guys.
Yeah.
I just, and that's honest. I just feel like I'm just part of our team, and I have a different role, which is I'm the face of the company. I
Yeah.
sell the jobs. I meet with the customers. Um, I order materials. I do estimates. I Marissa pays most of the bills now, which is awesome. That's something I used to have to do.
Yeah.
Having a wife on my side is, I definitely wouldn't be able to do this without her. It's
Yeah.
it's so awesome,
Nice.
and so I mean, there's some challenging parts to that for sure,
Yeah.
but she's, as we've grown, she's found her role. Her role isn't telling me how to schedule jobs. Her
Yeah.
role is, she pays bills. She also helps sell stuff when she does design appointments, and so she has her little niche, and sometimes we overlap, but for the most part we're kind of doing our own little specialties, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's really good. It sounds like you've found a good rhythm there and hit
Yeah.
hit hit your stride, hit your pace. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
What?
It's a continuing work in progress. I have to say that.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are you doing to market your business?
What's funny is I never gave much credence to marketing at all. I thought marketing was silly. In the early days, I did the old phone book ads,
Yeah, yeah,
and nothing, like zilch. And so I always was skeptical of any marketing. But we, about 2 years ago, we started doing print ad. We had a friend who did advertising for a local little magazine, more like those little magazines you see in the doctor's office. They're like a magazine, but they're more just a bunch of ads with a few stories in them.
Yeah.
And so they did that had a circulation in a neighborhood that had my favorite customers in there. And I told her, I said, if she always bugged me. I was like, no, I don't want to do anything. I said, if there's a way for us to get more jobs to my customers in the area that I really like to work, that's where the jobs that I want. If you can find a way to get the jobs that I want, I'm all for it. And she said, I think we have a way to do it. We have the circulation. It goes to this area, geographical area. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
And so we did that, and it's been great. We've gotten like 2 or 3 jobs a month off of this one circulation. And the most important thing is it's clients we want.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how most guys run residential. What I've learned in residential remodel construction, the clients you are working with make all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I vet my clients just as much as they vet me. I don't take every job.
Nice.
I don't want every job.
Yeah.
It's about finding the clients that work best with us and value what we have to bring to the table. And so for us, we have this retirement community up here in Lincoln, California. That's a lot of Bay Area people who retire move up here. It's like an active adult community, so it's 55 and older. These homes probably range between like 700 and 900,000 is probably what the houses are worth.
Yeah.
And it just those jobs just seem to click. I think the older generation puts a little more value on customer service, and they're a little more trusting. They're not so ready to jump on the internet and research everything. And not that that's a bad thing, but they don't consider themselves experts. I think that generation kind of let people be good at what they're good at. Where my generation, and I'm the same way, so I'm not putting it down, we want to know everything and we think we know everything. And so we kind of get mixed up in it. And, those clients are the clients we wanted to work with. And so that's what marketing has done for us, is get us more of the clients that we really want to work with.
I love it. That's a great answer. I love that. It's great that you didn't just throw a bunch of money out there and like put up a billboard. I mean, if you put up a billboard, not only most of us probably couldn't afford that, but you don't know, you can't control the environment. You don't know who's seeing it. Or if you invest in, just throwing money out there like a Yellow Pages or whatever, you just can't control it. But it sounds like what you did is you controlled the neighborhood as best as you could. And I've talked about this. There's a variety of ways to do this. So that sounds like it worked out really well for you. It sounds like a return on that.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people who are pretty savvy with internet marketing, and we've talked about the same thing. I haven't tried it yet because I just don't know how much more I want to grow. I'm like, that's usually what my answer is right now. Is like, I have 6 guys that are awesome, that are my family, that I love them, and I don't know, how many more people do I want to take on? Because again, as the boss or whatever, I feel like I take these people on, and some people are set up really well to do that, and they have a drive, like commercial. One avenue to go with tile installation, which a lot of your listeners probably do, is get commercial installation, kind of turn and burn, get big jobs, get a bunch of employees, and you're managing and, a big operation. I don't want that. I've found that like I enjoy the more personal. I like it to be like a family. And so, 2 of my guys this year just bought homes. And I think that's awesome, to be able to have a business that they're able to buy their own homes in California, which isn't cheap.
No.
And so I don't know how much I want to mess with the system. So that's usually what I come up with when people are pitching advertising to me. I'm like, my board is full.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need any more jobs right now, but I if they're more of the jobs we want, I mean, can you ever have too much? I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Isaac. I mean, growth comes in a variety of ways. It doesn't always mean adding more people or even more jobs. I mean, you might decide to advertise more, get that phone to ring more, and raise your prices.
Exactly.
So you're actually, you might end up working a little less or the same, but the profit goes up. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're in a position now to where that would maybe be the next move, the next gear.
yeah. And again, a lot of it, like it's funny. I don't want to be in like the rich neighborhoods. I've done that. I don't.
Yeah.
Most of the people that have a lot of money, it's just different. I
Yeah.
like working with real people. I like building that relationship. And a
Yeah.
lot of people it seems that are really wealthy are either too busy to really give a shit about what's going on their their tile job,
Yeah.
or they're kind of odd ducks or whatever, or traveling. And so I really love, like we found that income level that just
Yep.
really works. They have enough money to pay for, to put $30,000 into their bathroom, but
Yeah.
they're not super rich where it goes the other way. So
That's perfect. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah. Knowing who your ideal customer is so important,
Hmm.
that way you're not chasing everybody. And it
Hmm.
doesn't, yeah, it's not always the super wealthy, like you said. There's a
I'm
time and place.
sorry. I just realized I just cussed. I don't know if you can beep those out or if that's.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all good, Isaac.
All right, cool. I try really hard not to cuss on my YouTube, and sometimes every once in a while one slips out.
For
Like
sure.
like when I cut a water line.
Yeah. So how long, speaking of the YouTube, you've
Yeah.
got a great following there. Congratulations. How long has
Thank you.
that been going on? You've been working on that for a while, or?
Yeah, yeah. So this kind of ties in with the marketing. So I talked to a guy about marketing back in like 2010, and he
Yeah.
wasn't like a marketing guy. He was kind of like I don't know. I don't know what he was, but he had all these ideas, and one of his ideas for me was to kind of turn. I guess how would I put this? Make myself into an industry subject matter expert. This is the
Yeah.
way he put it. He
Yeah.
said one of the ways you can do that is start making YouTube videos. Your videos get out there, and then if people see you, they look at you as like the expert. Eventually you build yourself up, and you're the person that can be seen as who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so back then, like 2011, I think I made a video on floating. I was like, well, there's no videos on floating out there, so I'm going to make one video that was how to float walls.
Okay.
And most people know me from that have followed my page for a long time. They'll say, oh, I saw that video a long time, way
Yeah.
back when. um, and so I made that video. I think I made another floor layout video and maybe like a granite video. And that was between like 2011 and 2013.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just got bored with it, or I got too busy. I was building a showroom, and I didn't do any videos for a while. And I didn't think much of it. I didn't, from those three videos, I got a few subscribers.
Yeah.
I got, some comments, some thumbs up, but it never really did much for me. I was like, oh, it's kind of a waste of time. That's
Yeah.
not my avenue. And then, I think, I don't know what made me make my next video, but I did make another couple videos like 2016, 2017. And then I started getting a little more interest because I saw that, even in those years where I wasn't making videos, I think my subscriber count went up to like 500 or 600.
Right.
Like, whoa, that's kind of cool, And I thought, it's funny, you think you have 500 or 600 subscribers. How
Yeah.
naive I was at the time. I thought this was 600 people waiting for me to put content up on YouTube so they could watch me. And I
Yeah.
was like, so then I started making some videos like, where'd these 600 subscribers go? I only have 10 views on this
Yeah.
video. And now I know how the algorithms work and everything. And these people are probably long gone, but they're still subscribers. And so I made a few more videos, and it kind of, it did okay. I didn't see much into it. And then last year it kind of took a turn. So I went through the gentleman who does videography that I hired as a videographer to do some commercials for us and do some other social media advertising for us. He went and photographed a bunch of our jobs because that's one of the things that I think is important. It's like
Okay.
people kept asking us, can we see examples? I'd be like, pull out my phone, trying to find some old pictures.
Yeah.
And so I hired Teddy with Caravan Film Crews to come in and do some videos, some testimonials, some other stuff for us, which was huge. I mean, it's awesome. I'll get into it a little bit later, but through him, I was telling him about my YouTube, and I said, I like YouTube. I think it's cool, but I think I don't really have what it takes to get a lot of views. I mean, people just don't seem that interested. And he goes, well, you should go talk to. I have a friend who I also do some camera work for, and he's got like 4 million subscribers. And if he likes you, he'll sit down and tell you everything you want to know about YouTube.
Yeah.
And he told me, he goes, and he'll like you. And so I was like, oh, well, cool.
Yeah.
So the guy's name is Aaron Cairo, and his YouTube page is Braille skateboarding, like Braille, how blind people read, Braille skateboarding. And he does these skateboarding videos. There are tutorials on skateboarding. Anyways, totally unrelated to tile installation.
Yeah.
But he came up to Sacramento. He lives in the Bay Area, San Francisco. He came up. We did lunch, and he had another appointment up here. So we met. He said, "Oh, I can meet you for like 45 minutes." So cool. So I went down to Sac. We met up, and he gave me a bunch of tips. He's like, "Okay." He looked through my YouTube channel, and again, I think I had like 600-700 subscribers. He looked through it, and he saw things with the videos, and he goes, "Well, I would do this, and I would do this differently, and I would upload this many times, and I would change this word in your title to this." And he gave me all these tips that I wrote down. And then it was almost like immediately I went through and edited a bunch of titles and thumbnails and stuff like that. And then my views started going up. And then yeah, it was pretty cool. He's got a lot of insight. He's actually writing a book, and that's supposed to come out at the end of the month. And I'll probably promote it on my YouTube a little bit too, because it's been so helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably summer of last year.
Okay.
And so again, I had like 600 subscribers. So now I'll check my count, but I think I'm up over 17,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my last video that I uploaded hit like 600,000 views in 3 days.
Wow. That's crazy.
So yeah,
that's huge. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Are you finding local people contacting you through that?
For jobs?
Yeah.
We're getting some job leads off of it.
Okay.
I think most of my viewers are just average people. I mean, we have to be, for our jobs to work, the people, like I said, it's got to be in that 700,000 and above probably price range for the home that they live in, which isn't even me. So yeah. I mean, it's like most of my viewers don't have that kind of income, but we get probably, I would say, one good job a month off of YouTube.
That's great.
Which is awesome. But yeah, that's not really why I'm doing it. I'm now it's kind of turned into more of like a purpose driven thing where I really want to inspire people who don't like the job they're in, or maybe their parents are making them go to college or something. That I just want to inspire people, give them hope that there's a good life in the tile industry and the building trades in general.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my videos promote. I try to, I have to gain views for my message to get out, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. And then I tie in my purpose stuff with it too. And that's developing still. I don't know exactly how that's going to come to fruition, but it's starting to take shape.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that these things do evolve. I enjoyed the episode where you interviewed your crew, your 6 guys.
Oh yeah,
and kind of gave a background. And I think that's such an important message. One that we can't preach it loud enough, or there's never people aren't talking about it enough. There's a good living to be made in the trades, and especially in the tile installation trade, since that's what we do.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work there, Isaac. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. And it's probably, a lot of the industry probably isn't going to like what I have to say, because there's a lot of money in the big business of tile installation materials. And a lot of them I don't really agree with. I think part of my page is going to kind of get back to a little bit simpler, core tile guy stuff. And, it definitely won't go. We're not going to go back to the Stone Age of hot mops and wall floats on everything. But I think there's a value and an appreciation that could be put on that, to where, again, that we're separating ourselves a little bit from everybody else. Tile guys are just different. I think a lot of us a lot of us tile guys are just wired a little bit differently, or we'd be doing something else. I mean, most of the tile guys I know want to be the best. They want to be the best, and many consider themselves the best. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
self-proclaimed, I'm the best tile guy, and I
Yeah.
think it's cool. I mean, I love our industry. I love the guys in it. I love, and so I kind of want to. That's what I want to promote. I mean, that's kind of what I want to do. I love the guys who can work with mud. I love the guys who are, so detail oriented. Adam Wilson,
Hmm.
up here,
Yeah.
Icon Tile,
Yeah.
the guy's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
those guys, I look to those guys and how they get into their craft and how much they care about it. And you can tell even from a picture and how they operate, how much they care about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I really want to put a spotlight on
Yeah.
is these people. And I'm really interested. I mean, in our industry, it's the people that I'm really interested in. I mean, the business, you know, is I'm not as into that as I am hearing stories of the people and where they came from and how they did it, and so yeah, that's kind of what I think where my page is going to kind of go, and towards education.
Yeah.
One of my goals is to have kind of like a tile institute, so to speak, or
Yeah.
a place where people can come and learn, even if it's just on a local level. Maybe they
Yeah.
can come and learn how to float a shower floor, or
Yeah.
maybe they can come in and learn how to waterproof using a sheet membrane, or and put in a Curdy flange or something like that.
Yeah.
And take people that, again, are, looking for a way to use the gifts they were given, not just sit behind a desk.
Yeah.
So,
It
yeah.
seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but on your page and what I'm hearing you say is you're digging for answers to a method and a system that works for your business.
Correct.
There's a lot of ways to build a shower, and
Yep.
not there's no one answer that fits all, and there's no
Hmm.
need to be. I mean, when we have 6, 7, 12 options, I mean, find something that works for you, put it into place,
Hmm.
and really hone that skill and be the
Hmm.
best at it that you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that's kind of my stance on any of these, hot topic debates
Methods.
that methods that
Yeah.
we get into is, hey, if it works for you and you can make a profit and make a living and employ people, that's great.
Hmm.
And if it doesn't, then find something else. Figure it out. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
uh,
I just look at, I want to be a voice for basically, the silent, the silent tile guy who doesn't have a voice, who doesn't have a lot of money, who doesn't have what big corporations can market. I feel like so many of these products are pushed by big corporations, and I'm not going to name names, but ingrained, like, and I feel like it's almost indoctrinating us into thinking that this is the better way to do it. And really, there's no money in fat and deck mud. I mean, there's not big business behind floating walls of showers because it's sand, cement, and mortar.
yeah,
And so I just kind of want to be that voice. And again, I don't want to take down the big corporations. I just want to be a voice for the other methods that are still very good methods. So in my humble opinion, superior, but
yeah,
that doesn't really matter. It's just that I want to you know, educate people on those methods, which are
yeah,
kind of are dying out, as you know.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's really cool. And giving people something that they can learn, education is huge. So
Hmm.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Now, when it comes to your customers, how do you sell your value to your customers? Do you have any advice?
Video is huge. I mean, the
Okay.
YouTube, like I said, Teddy with Caravan Film Crews, when he did the testimonials for us.
Okay.
I mean, there's no better way to sell your value through that, I think. So every one of my estimates. So the way I if someone contacts me, they find my print ad, find my number on Google, whatever, however they find me, they call me. And I usually start out with, can you email me a few pictures, a basic description of the scope of work, and whatever info, pictures of the tile that you like, maybe some inspo photos or whatever. So then I take that, then I can create a ballpark estimate before I even go out to their house, before I even talk too much to them. I mean, I spent 10, 15 minutes on the phone with them and an email, and then I come up with a ballpark estimate that's going to be within like 10%. Usually
Okay.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
In that same email that has my quote is attached is a video link of a YouTube video that has all my customers' testimonials. It has pictures of our work. It has, some other stuff or our little story. And so that's attached with the. So when they're reading an estimate, they're just not reading a no-name estimate.
Yeah.
They're reading an estimate attached, and this is what it is. This is what they're getting. I
Yeah.
mean, so often we rely on people to just take us for our word, but we're contractors. It's like we don't have the best reputation for being upfront and honest with everything. But so yeah, that's how I sell it. And usually it just comes down to either they can afford it or they can't. And so there's no haggling. There's no that just is what it is. And then also having the showroom to back that up, and especially if my wife is in here, Marissa, I mean, that's a done deal. If they're in here, they
Nice.
get comfortable with us, they get to meet us. And then our print ads that we circulate kind of capture that same feeling. It's a picture of my wife and I standing next to each other smiling. You're
Hmm.
getting a husband and wife family business,
Yeah.
and this is what we specialize in. We specialize in curbless entry showers, maintenance free surfaces, and that's what we do. And
Yeah.
so I feel like when people see our ad, they're really getting a feeling for who we are. You know, the
And you're
again, the
focused. You're
yeah,
focusing on the outcome. What are they buying? You know, they're not just buying a tile on the walls. They're buying the whole experience.
yes,
The outcome of what they're gonna get in the end would be that barrier free shower, maintenance free. Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah. And what I mean, when you're dealing in residential remodel construction, if you're in a master bathroom, hey, we're in there 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We're tromping. You got guys in your house in your bedroom for 3 weeks. You better be comfortable with who they are. I mean, that can turn that experience is everything. And so I try to sell that point too. That you realize you're getting you're getting us. You're
Yeah.
getting a family business. It's not just a bunch of guys that are going to be working in your house.
Yeah. It seems that years ago, maybe our fathers' generations, if you were a contractor, all you had to do was hang your sign out on your door or in the front yard or in the newspaper, and people would call. But now it seems like the market is flooded with other contractors, other tile contractors. So we really need to work on our presentation, how we
Hmm.
look, everything from the moment we pick up the phone. We need
Yeah,
to make a good presentation.
be on time.
Be
I
on time.
can't
Yeah.
emphasize how important that is. If you have an appointment or you say you're going to be somewhere or call, like, be on time. And if you're
Yeah.
not, communicate that, because we always run behind. You
Sure.
don't know how many, I think, jobs I've gotten because I've called when I was 10 or 15 minutes late. Hey, I'm running a little bit late. I'll be there in 10, 15 minutes. Oh, thank you so much for letting me know. We'll see you then.
Yeah.
Instead of just, I mean, that's really important. I mean, it's little things like that.
Yeah. Over the years, is there any large advice or mistakes you made that you wish you would have known when you were younger?
Oh gosh. Uh,
Maybe.
I would say, I thought about that. I was thinking, I would say to my younger self, I'd say enjoy the waiting,
Yeah.
because we're in a society, and this is how I was when I was younger. I wanted results. I wanted results fast. I thought, okay, I'm starting my tile business, and I want this, I want that, I want this to happen. And I was just thinking, life is all about waiting. We're always waiting for something, and if you don't enjoy it, your life is going to pass you by.
Yeah.
So I look at all the people I've met and situations that have happened because I didn't get exactly what I wanted at that time.
Yeah.
And my business has kind of been that way. It's just been a real slow, steady growth, and the relationships I've built, um, has just kind of aligned me perfectly to where I am today. And even with my YouTube stuff, I started early in 2011. I was like, why isn't my YouTube growing? I'm trying hard. I'm making this awesome educational video, and nobody gives it. And
Yeah.
it's like, but if I would have got that YouTube success in 2011, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. I mean, what I've done in the last 8 or 9 years to create a foundation now my YouTube has content. I mean, that's what I look at with my YouTube. Like I don't watch too many other YouTube videos. There's like 4 or 5 tile guys on YouTube that are doing
Yeah.
tile content.
Yeah.
And I look at their stuff and I'm not putting them down at all. They're really good people, but I'm like, dude, my stuff will blow them away. Like now that I have 5 guys working for me, I have 3 or 4 jobs going on at the same time. I have this steady stream of content all the time, and I have some more free time because I position myself to be this way so I can get more into the video production
Yeah.
and get more into the testing and do all that stuff. So if I would have got that success early on, it wouldn't be, nearly, not even close, not even on the map
No.
to where what I have now.
Yeah. There's no way you could have got that success. I mean, you didn't know what you didn't know. I mean, now,
Yeah.
now you've enjoyed the waiting period, the learning, you've made all these mistakes along the way. And looking back, you can see how far you've come.
Yeah. Oh
But it,
man, I've come a long
yeah,
ways. There was I have one cool thing too is when you do have employees, if you've been there, you can relate to them. Like I relate to my guys grinding it out.
yeah,
When I know what they're up against every day, when
that's a
they're
good point.
when I know they're in a shower for 8 hours a day, when
Yeah.
I know they're dealing with little tiny mosaics for 8 hours a day, I can relate and I can I don't know if it's compassion, but it's like I can understand what they're going through, and I can, then I'm not just a boss, just slave driver. I'm like, man, he had 2 days of really hard work. Let's give him a day of this,
Yeah.
and so that only comes from experience of doing it myself,
Yeah.
and but yeah, and many other things. I mean, my road to getting to where I'm at hasn't been all fun and games.
No, I imagine not. Well, I appreciate the honesty and the good advice. I like that a lot. So
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Where do you turn to for business advice? Do you have any books you read or audio or
Um, I don't really, again, like the business stuff doesn't, it's not really what floats my boat. I mean,
yeah.
I was a high school football coach for 4 years
Okay.
from 2012 to 2016. And I read this book called Inside Out Coaching, and it's by Joe Ehrmann. That's Ehrmann, Joe Ehrmann, Inside Out Coaching. And I read this book about coaching, and really, what it stressed was the difference between transactional coaching and transformational coaching. So, transactional coaching is a high school coach or the boss that is looking at whoever is working for them to get something out of, right? So, transaction, okay, I'm going to hire you and you're going to go out and make me some money. Transformational bosses or transformational employees, I'm going to hire this guy and I'm going to help mold and transform him into a better person. And along that journey, he's going to help the business. And
Yeah.
so I approached my coaching that way with my kids. I wasn't result oriented. I was very, more about them and how I could help them get better as not only players, but people in general. And my success would be measured on how good of people they ended up, how well adapted young men they would be, as they move forward into the world and become men.
Yeah.
um, that's how I measured my success. And that's kind of, again, like I told you before about, I have 2 employees that bought houses this year.
Yeah.
And that's how I measure my success, right? How successful are they in their lives and their personal lives? How good of a job am I doing at providing them an atmosphere for them to grow, for them to enjoy this awesome craft that we have? And how well am I providing for them to succeed in the tile industry? And
Yeah.
so, and along the way, what happens, right? They enjoy what they do. They're interacting positively with customers. They are they want to be part of the team. It's not that
Yeah.
they just have to. They're not just grinding it out. So I mean, that book was really eye opening for me on how to do that. I took that into my business.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I love that you gave that answer, and I love that that's the way you see your employees and celebrate their victories with them.
Yeah,
Only if we focus on people, on our people, will we succeed. I mean, the people under us have to be succeeding themselves, and they have to be happy. So I can see that that's what's going on in your organization. So congratulations. I mean, whether you're coaching football or the team leader of a business, I mean, you have to focus on the people. You can't do it alone. You can't win a football game alone. You can't,
yeah.
you can't have a tile business, a showroom, and install 40, 50, 60 homes, jobs a year alone. You just can't.
Mhm.
You might get to 14 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I
anyways,
mean that's probably the main question you get, I bet, would be how do you go from being the one man show to running a business with employees? I mean, that's the hardest thing.
yeah,
And I get that question a lot, like, well, they want me, the customers want me, I'm Luke Miller Tile or I'm Isaac Ostrom Tile.
yeah,
Okay, why is Joe showing up now to set my tile?
yeah,
And you probably get that question a lot, I imagine.
yeah. I do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so I still remember one of my general contractors, one of the first times I did that, and he goes, "What's up, Isaac? I hired you. You're such a good installer, and I know your work, and I just wanted you, and then you send Steve out,
yeah,
and I said, Wayne, just give us a shot, man. I said, if it's not up to my standards, we're going to take it out and redo it, but just give us a shot. And
yeah,
so early on, it took a lot of that, and I felt insecure about it, right? Like
sure.
people would say that to me, I'd be like, oh no, what do I say to them? And now it's not like that at all. But in the beginning, it took some coaxing and a lot of, even now, I mean, I'm on my job sites usually once a day, talking
Yeah,
with the customers, answering questions, partly because I like to. I mean, that's the part of my business I like, is seeing the progress and building and being into it. But I think a lot of it just comes from confidence. And you gotta be able to. I guess you can't really give away what you don't have, but once you have that confidence, your customers will feel it. And
yeah,
so I would say you just kind of have to do it. You just kind of have to jump into it. You have to expect that at first your general contractors who know your work or whoever are gonna maybe have some questions, and just try to reassure them and just say, hey, just give us a chance. We can do this. I'm gonna be right here. But
yeah.
as you do it more and more, now I don't even. I mean, when a customer tells me that, they go, "Are you going to be the one doing the tile?" I don't even think, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
It's going to be. They go, well, who's going to do it? Well, I don't know, Steve or Kirk, or do you want to see their work? Or, it's funny. But then
yeah.
they see the confidence that I have, and they're just like, oh, that's normal. Yeah. So,
So how do you find what advice could you give to how do you finding an installer that you have confidence in? What does that process look like?
oh gosh, man. So Steve, my brother-in-law, he's been with me since 2004,
Okay.
and so he's my brother-in-law. So that's Marissa, my wife's brother. So
Yeah.
he's loyal to her. That's that. I never
Yeah.
have to worry about. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a really cool guy. Um, I've struck out. I'm batting probably 1 for 20 on guys over the years. I mean,
Yeah.
finding the right mix is really tough. And
Yeah.
and I think Craigslist sucks. I would never try that. I don't think I've ever kept anybody off of Craigslist. Um, what recently, with my social media presence, I get tons of inquiries of people that
Okay.
want to work for me. And
Okay.
my newest guy, Devin, yeah, actually, I commented to him on Instagram first. He said he made a comment like, I built my first shower ever or something, and he had a picture of it, and I just said, "Good job, man! That's awesome." He's young. I checked his profile as a young kid, like 22. I said, "Oh, awesome!" Just trying to encourage him,
Yeah.
and then he hit me back, and he wanted to see if I had any extra materials that he could practice with. I said, "Sure, come by the shop." And then when he came, he goes, "Actually, I'm here for two reasons."
Yeah.
He goes, "I'm looking for a job." And I said, "Oh man, I'm not really hiring right now." And And then he started explaining a little more about himself, and he had tools, he had a truck, he was clean cut, he had two little babies at home, he was married. And I was like, and he was hungry. He's like, I just want to learn. The shop I'm at right now doesn't let me learn. They don't let me learn anything. They just make, I'm just still a helper after 2 years, and I'm getting really frustrated. I said, dude, when can you start? It's
Wow.
like, I don't know. I feel like it's just got to be the right fit. I don't think there's any concrete answer I can give to
Yeah.
anybody,
And
but
I
I don't
knew,
think,
yeah.
I wouldn't say go looking. You can't even really go looking for it. You got to be open to it if you're looking for people, but don't ever take anybody on that you don't feel is the right fit, because
Don't
it won't
force it.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll turn, and it's a net negative. It's not like, oh, it's just a wash. I
Yeah.
mean, employees can take you down. They can take your company down. Um,
Yeah. That's a
so
good
you got
point.
to be, yeah, you got to be really careful. And I would say, um, hire for character more than hire for their skill set. I
Yeah.
think skill sets can be molded, but work ethic, I don't know if that can be taught at this age. I think that's something that people are either born with or they're not, or they learn at a young age from their fathers or whoever. Um, so I think the character part, are they honest? Do they have work ethic? Just what kind of people are there? And you can teach the rest. I mean, that's kind of what I feel. I guess that's another one of my purposes. I feel is for us to pass on the trade to teach what we know down to. I see too many guys out there, and I know nobody's doing it on purpose, but they're working by themselves,
Yeah.
and it's like, hire a helper. And I know it's a commitment, and I know you're taking on somebody, but hire somebody to come help. That, again, someone with good character, but maybe they don't know anything.
Yeah.
Hire them, teach them, let's mold them, and then so that our trade keeps growing. But I think, I would definitely say the key would be hire for character, don't hire for skill.
Yeah. Nice. Yes. Well, I appreciate
I,
that advice. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, sometimes you get both, sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's pretty
I
rare
think you
though.
hit on something right from the beginning too. Is you just have to. It's a numbers game. I mean, you're not
Yeah,
going to find one. You might get lucky, but it's rare that you would find the first applicant to be the
yeah, nope.
one that the right fit. I mean, and if it is, then you might have to go through another 40 to find number two.
Yeah, yeah, and the truth is that a lot of self-employed, I mean, a lot of guys go into business to be self-employed because they're unhireable. I mean, I was. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, I remember when we moved down, from Grass Valley to down here. I mean, I was trying to get away from trouble. I was
Yeah.
24 years old. I had a drug and alcohol problem. I'd just gotten out of rehab, newly sober. I was a felon, and I couldn't find a job. I tried to employ it at the local telephone company. And I remember thinking, this is the perfect job for me. If I can get this, it's a city job. There's benefits. I had two little kids. I was, getting back on my feet. We were just trying to start our lives down here new. And I
Yeah.
remember how crushed I was when they said they couldn't hire me. They're like, dude, we can't insure you, your
Wow.
criminal background, and we can't have you. And
Yeah.
so I didn't have any other choice. I mean, I
Yeah.
was like, all right, people aren't going to hire me. I'm not going to go work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the skills I already have and build a business, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I was off and running.
Yeah.
And I think sadly, I don't even know if it's sad that people change, but I think, a lot of the guys in our industry, we're, I don't know if it's because we're alpha males or whatever, but we don't always work well with others. So we're just kind of lone wolves, and we're like, I'm a tile guy, work for myself, don't have to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
I just go work for myself. So we're not always the best equipped at forming a business, and I think, I don't know. I don't really know the answers to that.
Yeah.
I was fortunate, but for me, it was, a personality change was
Yeah.
very. I mean, everything for me, things had to change on the inside before they changed on the outside. I had to get right with myself and take care of all these issues that I had. Like I said, drug addiction, alcoholism. I had to take care of that before I was going to do anything out
Yeah.
with business or anything. So,
Yeah.
um, I take care of myself. I take care of my family, and then the business just kind of falls in line with that, because you take those same values and you take them to your business.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do it backwards. They think, well, okay, well, if I can just make enough money, I'll be able to solve all these other issues.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And then,
Yeah.
divorce happens and stuff like that. All the other issues that us men deal with,
Yeah.
So
No, I appreciate you getting personal and sharing that. I think a lot of us can relate to that, Isaac. So thank you. I know a lot of
yeah,
people are going to benefit from this. Thank you for taking some time out of your day here to do this interview and share. I love your passion for the industry. I love that you're, driving and creating something good for our industry. So congratulations on that. I'm looking forward to seeing you continue to grow. Where can people follow you online?
Instagram, I'm at Tile Coach, and YouTube is my name, Isaac Ostrom. If you just type in ISAAC, I'll usually pop up on there. But
Okay.
so yeah, my videos are online, and come check them out. Be part of our community. I mean, that's also what's nice about YouTube is we get this huge community of people that are commenting and sharing info, and Instagram, not so much. Instagram's a little more just pictures and people giving a thumbs up. But YouTube's like an actual community where people are really sharing a lot of information,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah. Are you on Facebook or no?
No,
Not really.
no.
No. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why. Facebook just never really worked out for me. I tried a couple of things. I was checking out Tile Geeks every now and again, but a little clicky, and I just don't want my relatives and
We all have limited time, and I think we all pick our social media outlets.
Yeah, I love Instagram's really cool though. I mean, we got the people in the UK and Australia and all over the US. It's a really cool community there too. But yeah, we don't share so much information there. It's just more
exactly,
sharing pictures and stuff. So
yeah. Well, Isaac, I hope you have a good rest of the day here and have a profitable week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Luke. I'm glad we finally hooked up. We've tried a few different times in person and didn't work out. But yeah, thanks for reaching out, and look forward to listening to this. Hopefully you don't have to edit out too much of it.
No, it was good.
Right on. All right, Luke, I'll see you around.
Okay. So the second one is something called straw issues. A buyer, this is also called filling the pot. So a buyer might say, I like to use the truck analogy on this. Oh, hey, obviously this car comes with the clear bra package and the lighting package and the, UV coating and all this. And you just keep adding things that the seller will have to consider as the deal goes on, even though they may or may not be on the sticker. Okay. These are called straw issues. The buyer doesn't necessarily care about them, but if they can add a little value to the deal, it's great. I have a friend who bought a diesel truck, big old dually diesel truck. And when we were talking about what he should go into before he bought the truck, he was like, what should I go into? What should I try to ask for? Well, I look at these dealers as like everything I can get and have them throw in, I'm going to do. I try to find out what's easy for them to give me and what's hard for them to give me. So, for example, leather treatments, all those leather upgrade protection warranty packages, all that stuff. A lot of that stuff is completely funny money to the dealer. So why not get them to throw it in for free? Fill the pot a little bit. How that works in tile is a lot of guys will say, oh, well, prep's included in this, right? Oh, and sealer's included on this already, right? You already got that. And in fact, it may not have been added and it may not have been part of the scope. So it's important that when this happens, sellers often can give a little to break the seal, so to speak, to get the job done. So, for example, if it was an easy job and you could throw in the sealer to help close the job, that might be an easy, simple concession to get the ball rolling. And I absolutely am for concessions to keep the ball and the conversation, more importantly, going. So I would definitely look at those things. But it's important that as you're speaking, that you're getting closer to the agreement. And in that, I would be using language that sounded like, okay, great. If I throw in the sealer, are we done here? Or you see what I'm saying? So definitely not interested. By the way, that's an F-35. Sorry,
Wow.
they fly
So,
over me.
so if I'm hearing you correctly, we
Yeah.
can fill the pot with things that are already going to be in the pot, almost, so to speak. Like, for instance, general contractors, sir, we sweep up every day, we grind the floors. Just kind of walk them through your process if we're going to install
Now,
floor
if
tile.
I'm going to proactively, sorry, if I'm going to proactively fill the pot, I'm going to do it with things exactly like you said. I'm going to
Okay.
get in there and I'm going to say, hey, just so you know, we already include daily cleanup. We already include trash removal. We already, you could do that to help kind of do that proactively. But as a tactic, when people are trying to throw things on at the last minute, okay,
Mhm.
I oftentimes will then use a tactic of, once again, I go through the scope, right? So I just back up a little bit. Okay, wait. So I just want you to know that sealer's not included on this job. I want to go through your scope to make sure that it wasn't a mistake on my end.
Okay.
I
Okay.
always do it in a face-saving way for the buyer.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Crap. I did not include that. That might have been my mistake. Let's go through our documents here to make sure.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
But
Yeah.
never in an aggressive manner, always in a humble, face-saving manner for the customer. Understand, helping the customer save face is a key to it's like the lubrication of the deal. You want to make sure that everybody stays happy. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, anything that brings the agreement closer to close. So those are straw issues and filling the pot. I use my friend Diesel Dooley truck as an example. I mentioned earlier. He got upgraded wheels. He got the clear bra on the front. He got this sick lighting package that was part of it and all this. So it was just because he researched the truck he wanted. He put work into the thing and he had all this list of things that he wanted to ask for. And here's the key about negotiation. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And so buyers will use that on you as well. If they don't ask for free sealer, they won't get it. So don't be offended when they do.